Yo! What is up, guys? Nick Nakai here. Well, that's Drift Media. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. If it's your first time here, please hit that subscribe button down below. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how much money I made for the year in 2021 as a Toyota flat rate mechanic. So let's get started. Alright guys, so real quick, sorry for the echo in here. I know some of you guys said it's echoing pretty bad, but it's because I got the garage doors closed up and I have a lot of stuff in here, so I'm surprised it still echoes, but you guys are just gonna have to deal with it. So today's episode, like you guys saw, is gonna be how much money I made as a Toyota flat rate mechanic in 2021 for the year. So I'll give you guys some real numbers, something to work on. Maybe you guys are interested in being a flat rate mechanic, or you are a flat rate mechanic and just curious how much somebody in California made, this video is for you. So before we get started with this video, please join the Discord, guys. We are up now almost 1,000 members. We have like 900 people up in that server. The chats are popping off all day, every day. I can't even keep up with them. Luckily, I got my tech line members in there, and we got the Discord foreman. Shout out to Alex Franco for getting back to pretty much every single message that someone puts in there. So really appreciate you guys, really appreciate anyone who's joined, contributed to the server. So if you haven't joined, what are you waiting for? There's a lot of good stuff in there, a lot of good info, a lot of cool people too. So anyways, with this video, disclaimer, this video is not to any reason at all be like, oh, look how much money I made, trying to brag, anything like that. This video is to kind of give you guys an idea of how much money you can actually make being a flat rate mechanic. Again, this is just my story being in California as a Toyota flat rate tech, so everyone's story is going to be different. I'm sure people made more than me, some people made less than me. It all comes down to you, where you're working. There's so many variables with being a flat rate mechanic that you can't base my income off how much you're going to make. I just wanted to put this video out there because a lot of people don't talk about how much money they actually make being a mechanic, and it scares a lot of people because some people are trying to get into the field, but they don't know how much money you're going to make being a flat rate mechanic. And I guarantee if you go on Google, you're gonna see some false ass numbers that, I don't know where they get these numbers from, but a lot of the numbers that I've looked up make no sense because I'm like, dude, I made way more than what they're talking about. Or even at this other job, I'll look up like what I looked up as a fleet rate mechanic or a fleet mechanic where I'm at now, and I'll talk to friends who are in my current job and they're like, dude, like what the heck, like they made way more than what they're saying on Google. So Google is only just an analytics, I guess, so you can't completely base it off that. But anyways, back to the point, I want to make this video because me coming into the automotive industry when I was like 18, 19 years old, I didn't really know how much money you can make. Like that's one thing, people don't really like to talk about money. Even being in the dealership, most places, people aren't going to tell you how much money they make, and it's only very few people that I've met that actually like will be open about it, let you know how much they make per hour and how much they took home for the year. And those are usually like my close friends, of course, but a lot of people don't like to talk about it. So this video, I'm going to be talking about it. So if you guys could do me a favor, if you are a flat rate mechanic already, or even a loop tech, it'd be pretty helpful to like maybe drop a comment and state what state you're in, what you do as a flat rate mechanic, maybe what brand. Like I'm a flat rate tech at BMW and I made so-and-so this last year. That way the people can go down in the comments and they could check out what other people made. Maybe one brand, these people are making more than another brand, or maybe one field of the automotive industry is making a lot more than other people. So I think it'd be pretty cool if everyone contributed, but you don't have to, because like I said, a lot of people don't like to talk about money. So, all right, so let's get started. So my numbers are based off my experience. I've been at the dealership I was at the dealership for about 9 years before I left. 4 of those years I was a loop tech, working my way up, trying to become a flat rate mechanic. During those loop tech years, I probably made like 30, 35 grand for the year because I was just getting paid minimum wage. So after becoming a loop tech, I probably have about 5 years of experience being a flat rate mechanic, working from BMW to Chevy to Toyota, and finishing up with Toyota before I left this past couple months. So that's my experience, and that's where my numbers are coming from. So I'll go ahead and get to the numbers. I had to write it down because I did some math and stuff here, but when I left Toyota, I was getting paid $31 an hour flat rate. If you guys aren't familiar with what flat rate means, I recommend you go, I'll leave a link to my video explaining how flat rate works. But anyways, $31 an hour as a flat rate tech in California at Toyota as a Toyota Master tech. So for last year, in the year 2021, I grossed $83,657. So almost 84K for the year, which in my opinion is pretty good. I was able to live pretty comfortably. I purchased my first home last year and have not been living paycheck to paycheck. So 84 grand to me is a pretty good amount of money to live comfortably and not be living paycheck to paycheck struggling depending on your spending habits. Especially if you live at home and you're not paying rent or you're just paying a couple $100s, that is really good money, and making that much money, you can pretty much buy whatever you want anytime if you're not paying like a lot of bills. And another thing to think about, California gross income average is about 31K individual. I got that from Google, so I don't know how correct that is, but if you do the math on that, making 31K a year is about like $16 an hour. So basically minimum wage right now in California, since it's 15 an hour. And household income, which is combined income of like maybe like you and your spouse, is about 74 grand a year. That's just the average that I got off Google. I don't know how true that is, because I feel like a lot of people will make more than that. But just to show you guys that me being a flat rate mechanic was able to make more than the average household income in California, which I think is pretty awesome. So, but let's get down. That's just gross. That's before taxes. Anyone, pretty much anybody, especially in California, knows that they really shaft you when it comes to taxes. So that was 84K gross before taxes, just total, not even take home. So after taxes and deductions for the year, it was about 60K, 60.9K, almost 61K. So that's 61K for the year that I actually got to take home. Those were my actual paychecks, and that's the money I actually saw. That's a lot of money in taxes. Like, goddamn, California, oh my God, they really tax the hell out of you. That's about 30% of the money I actually made. 30% went to taxes. So basically every $100 I made, $30 was gone, and I never even saw it. And I didn't see it on my tax return, so that money's gone. Okay, so I'm gonna have to look at the numbers I put here because I'm not that great at math. So 60K or 61K divided by 12 for 12 months in a year comes down to about 5 grand, almost 5,100. So I was taking home 5,100 in my paycheck per month. So do the math on that. That's pretty much, because we get paid every 2 weeks, at least most places in the automotive industry. That came down to, on average, 2,500, around 2,540, 2,500, let's just put that, 2,500 take home every 2 weeks. And in order to make that 2,500 every 2 weeks, I did further math, and that means I averaged flagging 112 hours every pay period for the entire year. Of course, that's just an average to make that 112 hours, $2,500 take-home paycheck. Some of those pay periods I flagged like 180, even 200 hours for those pay periods, and those are really nice checks. But again, with flat rate, it has its ups and downs. You're not always gonna flag 120 plus hours. Some paychecks you might really get screwed over and even hit 80 hours. So your check's gonna be a lot smaller than 2,500, probably looking at taking home like 1,800, maybe 2 grand. And sometimes it gets even lower and you're taking home even less. So that's is just the average of 112 hours per pay period, but you just have to remember that being flat rate, you're not gonna make that exact same paycheck every time. I've had really great paychecks, like I said, when I hit like the high, almost 200 hours in one pay period. I've also had very bad pay periods where I hit like 80 hours, 100 hours, and I would always try to hit more than like at least 100. But if I was hitting under 100 hours, those paychecks were pretty low, and it kind of sucks sometimes if you don't have money put away and you're living paycheck to paycheck. You have different spending habits maybe, and you don't have that money put away. It kind of sucks when you get a low pay period. Like when it's slow, it always gets slow around the holidays. That's another thing with flat rate. You really have to put money aside because you never know what your next paycheck's gonna be, how busy your shop's gonna be, and just really something to think about. But yeah, I feel like that pretty much sums up this episode. I don't think it was too long because I just really wanted to put my numbers out there. Because I feel like my last videos kind of have more been like negative towards being a mechanic, or at least in the dealership, because I got fed up with it and had to get out. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you think about it, it's pretty good money. You can make a lot more money than a lot of people. Sure, there's other jobs, like of course, if you're a doctor or a lawyer, Who knows what else, could be making well over 6 figures, maybe even 200K a year. That's a lot of money. But at the same time, a lot of people aren't even getting close to making 100 grand a year. So being a mechanic, a flat rate mechanic with experience, if your shop is busy enough, you can make 80K, at least I did. And I only had so much experience. There's guys in there that were way faster than me, way smarter than me, and made a lot more money than me. So just wanted to give you guys hope that you still can make money in the automotive industry. A lot of people say it's a dying industry. Things aren't the same, it's going to shit. Yeah, things aren't the same, but that's because things change. We're in 2022 right now. A lot of these people talking smack about the automotive industry are guys who have been doing this since like the 90s, even the 80s possibly. So of course, things are a lot different than it was 20, 30 years ago. Things are getting harder. These vehicles are getting more complex, more computer systems. And the labor times on vehicles are getting cut down a lot. But at the same time, if someone like me was able to do those numbers with how little experience I had, I believe a lot more people can do that too, because I even saw people at my dealership. We had a guy who just started flat rate. It was his first year being flat rate. He did a full year of flat rate and he took home, or gross, like 90, 93K. So he did more than me, and that was his first year on the line. So, but he also worked very hard for that. Again, that's flat rate. You gotta work hard if you wanna make that money. So yeah, guys, I guess to sum it up, you can still make money being in the automotive industry, even being a dealership mechanic. So don't want to scare anybody away from this field because they're not gonna make enough money to live comfortably. You can live fairly comfortably, at least in my opinion. I feel like that is plenty enough money if you're single. And if you're not single and you have another person making money in your household, that is, that's just plenty money. But I mean, like I said, it all comes down to what you consider good money. Do you consider $80,000 a year good money, or do you consider that not enough money? If like 80 to like 100, 140K, I would say is kind of like the top end of mechanics, depending on where you're at. If you don't consider that good money, then maybe this industry isn't for you, because this is not one of those get rich quick industries. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of years, a lot of money investing in tools to get to that point where I'm at. And I could tell you off the bat, I was not making this money when I first started off on the loop rack. As you guys know, I was making minimum wage. So it's just something that you have to really put into perspective. Is the payout worth waiting and investing in your future, in your tools, in order to get to that point? And again, like I said, I wasn't even at the top. I was probably I could have made a little bit more, a lot more this coming year if I stayed at the dealership. But I decided to go to the I keep saying fleet line, like flat, I don't fucking know. The fleet side of the automotive field, and so far I'm loving it. I really want to do an update video for you guys, but I think I'll give it a couple months, because right now I'm still so fresh. It's always like that fresh feeling. But I'll update you guys in a little bit once I have a little bit more experience. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to join the Discord. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments, or drop them in the Discord, because I'm more active on there than the YouTube comments. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I shed some light to give you guys some real numbers that a lot of people don't want to talk about. So catch you guys later. Peace!
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up.